Good morning, folks. Welcome to Now You Know. This is Chris Perkins, and we have an excellent guest today, Denise Ducharme, who is town manager for Madison. And Denise, I think this is the first time I've had you on this show, so it's
I,
about time.
I think it is. Thank you
Yeah,
for the invitation.
you're welcome. And there's a lot going on in the area and in the town of Madison, and we've been throwing ideas back and forth of what to discuss. But you brought one up off air before we started the show, and property taxes. Now,
Yes.
that was not necessarily a topic I was thinking you'd like to discuss, but the idea behind this is that you can talk about some potential ways to alleviate the pain of property taxes.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm going to let you explain those.
All right. Well, as you know, property taxes have been on the rise across the state, not just in Madison. All municipalities are feeling the pinch and the burden of the tax that is assessed against people's real estate and personal property. Even the state level, the legislature is looking at ways to alleviate that. They have a task force that they're using to identify what types of resources are available. You know, what can we do instead of putting the burden on the property tax owner? And so some of the things that we can do on a local level is the homestead exemption. Now, if you have a primary residence in Madison and you are not receiving a homestead exemption on your property tax, that's a way that you can save $25,000 right off the bat.
Are there a lot of people that, when they buy their house, I mean, you have to be proactive to set this up, and it's the year after you bought the property
Exactly.
that it goes into effect. Are there a lot of people that don't even think about doing this?
I believe there are. So when Jack and I first bought our house, we didn't think anything about homestead exemption. We thought that was for a specific age group or a specific class of category of home or something. And so when we realized, this is available to all homeowners, as long as it's your primary residence, you can have a home somewhere else, but you can't take a homestead exemption in multiple locations.
Right.
If it's your primary residence and you've been in it for at least a year, then you can sign up for this homestead exemption. So the paperwork involved in that is available at the town office, very easy to fill out, and I think we actually have it online on our website, madisonmaine.com. If it needs to be filed by March 31st, because the property tax year starts on April 1st.
Right.
So if it's not in the books by March 31st, then it's going to be another whole year before it would take effect.
And they would be, if you don't file for it, and you have to be proactive, if you don't file for it, you're leaving potentially up to $25,000 on the table, and that's still pretty significant. Yeah. Yeah.
It is. And, we've reached out to a lot of people that we recognize that are eligible for it, that are not claiming it now, and trying, from our perspective at the town office staff, trying to get them to be aware of it and to make that claim so that they can enjoy the benefits of that, and keep a little bit more money in their pocket.
Well, it makes sense. Now, the other thing is that you folks have a tax club, right, where people don't have to, of course, the way it is now is you can pay it in 2 installments.
That's correct.
Was it September
Typically
1st?
around September 15th.
15th,
and
yeah.
March 15th.
And March 15th, okay. And of course, with the March 15th, if you're paying in installments, you've got to remember to make that second payment.
Right, because we only send out one tax bill.
Yeah.
We send the tax bill out after the taxes have been committed, typically in August. And once those taxes have been committed, then the first payment is due 30 days after the tax commitment has been made, or September 15th, whichever is later.
Hmm.
So this year it was September 30th.
Yeah.
And we had the opportunity to, and we've done this for several years, have a tax club where people can come in and sign up to be part of the tax club. They can pay on a monthly basis for 9 or 10 months, and they can, distribute the amount of tax that they are paying over that period of time without penalty of interest. So they can go paying from September through June, 3 months beyond the March 15th date, and still not have to pay interest on that, because if they're part of that tax club.
Okay. Now, to be part of the tax club, is there any sort of income verification for that, or is it
No.
No.
No income verification. Is you go in, you see Julie, who is Madison's tax collector. You fill out the paperwork, and you sign up, and she gets you on a monthly payment schedule that by, I don't know the specific date, maybe I think it's like the 5th of every month, you have to put in your allotment for that month.
Yeah.
And that carries you through. So if somebody misses a payment, though, that kind of jeopardizes their spot in the tax club, and they need to be consistent, they need to be on time to continue being part of the tax club.
Well, I'll tell you, property taxes in recent years have certainly gone up throughout the state. It's not unique to Madison, and you read articles constantly about people needing help with property taxes, older folks needing help with property taxes. It's
True.
there's something I think ultimately has to be done to change the tax burden somehow.
Yes, and that has to come from Augusta.
Yeah.
you know.
Whether it comes from other forms of taxes, I don't know. No one likes to pay taxes, but it's been the past, particularly I've noticed in the past 5 or 6 years.
Yes.
There's been I use COVID as the kind of the demarcation for a lot of problems, and it's gone up a lot in
It
that period
has.
of time.
It has. And I think, remembering that COVID had such a significant impact on different aspects of municipal government, wages alone, the to be competitive, to get employees, you have to meet a certain threshold. And COVID really upped that threshold significantly. I mean, you can go to work at McDonald's for $18 an hour. How are you going to get somebody in the town office to serve the citizens and register vehicles and at $18? You're not. So it's had a significant impact just on the wages alone.
Yeah, got that. I mean, food prices have gone up an
Absolutely.
extraordinary amount, so
Yep.
it all comes back to us. It comes back to the consumer always.
It does.
So,
does.
yeah.
So be proactive. There's the homestead exemption. If you're legally blind, there's another exemption for that. If you're a veteran, there's an exemption for that. If you're the widow or widower of a veteran, there's exemption opportunities there. So, be proactive, take advantage of all that stuff. Call the town office, ask, questions, and participate.
Because a lot of people just don't realize what's available
That's
to
true.
them. So anyways, one thing we learned here is that you need to reach out
Yes.
to the town to see if there's any help. And if you're in any sort of financial crisis, you need to reach out to that. It's better
Yes.
to notify the town sooner rather than later than get way
Absolutely.
behind.
That's true. We have several properties that are in danger of foreclosure right now, that we're trying to work with the owners. The town doesn't want to own your property.
No.
What we want to do is we want to help you get caught up. And if that means it's a payment plan, if your 2022 taxes haven't been paid, or 23 taxes or 24 taxes, and you're facing a lien or a foreclosure notice, call and make arrangements. We don't want your property. We don't want to take possession of it. We don't want to make you homeless. these are just hard times. You know,
Yeah.
there are also poverty abatements that are available. You know, if somebody's income, that's where you have the income thresholds. You know, if you are below a certain threshold and you can't afford to pay your taxes, come talk to us.
Well, communication is always important.
It is. It really
And
is.
if you just let things go and kind of hope that things will get better and get farther and farther in the hole, then
Yeah.
you're in a position that you might not be able to get out of very easily.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's probably good on property taxes.
I
So,
think so. I
so
think so.
bottom line, contact the town, and if you're in some sort of difficulty or looking for any way that you can more easily pay your property
Yes.
taxes. So,
So the website is madisonmaine.com, and the town office phone number is 696-3971. Don't be afraid to reach out.
and you guys are open pretty convenient weekday hours. I think it's like 7:30 to 4 every single day.
7:30 to 4 every day, with the exception of Mondays 11:30 to 12:30. We have a staff meeting, and we close the office at that point. You know, we just kind of we have to have our time to communicate and build teamwork, and I think it's the only day of the week that the staff is guaranteed to have lunch.
Yeah, that's
Sadly.
true. And so Madison is a town. You have 5 selectmen,
Yes.
and you meet
Select persons.
select. Oh, geez, there's my. We were just talking about proper terminology before
Yes.
we came on the air, and I've screwed that up already. I was back when I was a select person. That was back in the day that they called it the other
Yep.
term.
Yep.
So anyways, I'm old.
I call it the select board, and it makes it simple that way.
Yeah, that's
Member
right.
of the select board.
That makes it a lot. That makes it a lot easier. So you have 5 select people or
Yes.
persons, and you meet twice a month.
We do. We meet on the second and the fourth Monday of the month, and typically it's at the Old Point Avenue meeting room, 6:30 in the evening, Monday evenings. The next meeting that we have coming up is November 10th, and that is actually going to be at the East Madison Fire Station. We try to do one meeting a quarter over in East Madison.
I imagine the East Madison residents appreciate that.
They do. We typically have a good crowd that comes out. You know, we're one community. We may be separated by a lake, if you will,
Yeah.
or Route 201, but we are one community. We're one municipality, and we need to remember that we belong together.
That's right. That's right. And you guys, I think, have been fairly busy over the past year with a number of issues. Any particular thing you want to mention? I don't want to get into too much controversy here, but
No, I'll try to stay away from controversy. I get enough of that at the select board meetings.
yeah.
Well, some good news. You know, we lost Madison Paper Mill a number of years ago,
Yes.
and Timber HP has brought some life back to the old mill building.
Certainly has.
The two co-founders, Josh Henry and Matt O'Malia, have done a remarkable job of building up the business of wood fiber insulation. And so I don't know how many people are aware, but they just recently came out of Chapter 11 reorganization.
That's right.
And as they came out of reorg, they were able to continue production of the 2 first lines, the timber bat, which is, and then the timber fill, which is the loose stuff.
Yep.
Well, they came out of reorganization, and they've got their 3rd line up, which is going to be their most productive line.
Oh, they do.
The
Okay.
timber board.
Yep.
And that, I went on a tour maybe a month or 2 ago, and they have the ability to make the timber board from anywhere from like 1/2 inch to 9 or 10 inches, for wall material. So the insulation product that they're putting out, the products that they're putting out, are remarkable in that they are carbon
Neutral or carbon?
neutral or negative.
Negative, yeah.
And they have fire retardants on them, and so I'm thrilled that they were able to maintain an employee status of, I think they were at 50 to 75 people before they went into reorg, and they were able to maintain the majority of that staffing. And so they've really worked hard to bring themselves around and come out of that.
Is their goal still to eventually get to 200? I think we've done a couple of shows on them prior to the bankruptcy, and I think they had said ultimately they were trying to get somewhere in that level. I don't know if that's still their
200
aspiration.
employees?
Yeah.
I think so. Right now, their capacity, because of just what they're able to produce, they're, I think, 75 to 90 people.
Yep.
And they're adding staff to better market their product.
Yeah. And they're mostly right now pretty much either the New England or mid-Atlantic area, I think, is where they're going. But I think the intention is to go a lot farther out than that.
I believe so.
Eventually. Because they are, if I understand correctly, they were the first in the United States. In North America to produce this product. And the ideas actually came from Europe where they were doing it.
Yep.
In Germany, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. And they got some of their equipment from over
did.
there. So it was a very...
it's a unique process.
It's a unique process, and one good thing is it helps the timber industry a great deal in this area.
It does, and they're using a mix of wood product, so it's not all hardwood, it's not all softwood. Their scientists, have developed what is the best mix between hardwood, softwood, but they're also taking in waste wood from the paper mills. So, they're using everything. It's just such an environmentally friendly opportunity all the way around.
When we first interviewed them a few years ago, the product just completely made sense. And apparently they were able to manufacture it at a competitive rate so that it should be attractive to purchase. And honestly, if you could do this without spending a heck of a lot more than you would with regular, say, insulation in your house, why wouldn't you want to do something like that?
That's absolutely correct. And it is a very comparable priced product.
Yeah. So that makes so the whole thing, it just made so much sense. And I don't know whether it's COVID. There are various reasons they got themselves in a certain amount of financial trouble that was a little painful for everybody involved.
Yeah.
But they did find, whether it be bondholders or creditors or whatever, they found a lot of support and an ability to get out of that. They must have continued to see the promise of the product in order and management to do that.
Well, they did, and their contributors saw that.
Yeah.
The town of Madison being one of them.
Yeah.
Somerset County, Somerset Economic Development Committee, FAME.
That's right, FAME was that.
It was not, there was never a point where we said, cut your losses and go away, because that would not be in the best interest of the town. That we have employees here, people that live and work in this town for Timber HP, and they're paying property taxes on a piece of property that sat dormant for a number of years and basically decimated the property tax rolls.
And I'm assuming the majority of their workers either live in Madison or in this particular area.
They
so
do.
they certainly They have good paying jobs and they
Mhm.
can afford to have houses and pay property taxes.
Mhm.
So that is all good. And if you didn't have them, then what would you do?
Right.
Yeah, it took quite a while to get them in the first place.
Yep.
And yeah, it just seemed to make sense to have patience with this.
Yes. And one of their, I think, is the plant manager, Steve,
Hmm.
is, he worked for Madison Paper all those years ago. So several of their high-ranking employees are former Madison Paper employees. So
That's right. I know Joe Clark,
yes, right.
who worked for Madison Paper for a number of years,
Yep.
too. And so I think they've got some good people over there
Definitely they do.
to do things. So a little bit of a shaky start, but
It was.
it looks as though they're on the upside now, and that
I
should
think
be
so. I think so. And they're they're committed to the community, not just to their product. They're committed to the town of Madison, and I think that's such a key element to anybody
yeah.
that's going to be a business partner with the town.
Yeah, oh, I would think so. They contribute quite a bit in property tax. It isn't quite anywhere near the magnitude of
No.
Madison Paper,
Right. Not
but
yet.
not yet. But who knows? Maybe at some
Right.
time it will be. So
I think it will grow. The
yeah,
property tax base for them will grow. As they develop the product lines and renovations to the mill and everything else, the property value itself will go up.
yep. Okay, so there's a number of things going on in Madison. I think now November 1st is coming right up. We're recording this show on the 29th of October, and it'll probably be on the air somewhere in that time period.
Okay.
But November 1st is when you better have your cars off the street
Oh,
before midnight, right? Because
yes.
snow removal thoughts.
Parking ban
Yeah.
will take effect November 1st. So as it does every year, the the road commissioner will make sure that you get a warning,
Yeah.
and after the second, I think after the first warning, if it happens again, you're facing getting your vehicle towed.
Yeah.
So snow removal is primary safety. It's a key element of the highway department, and so be aware, be cautious. After November 1st, if you want to risk leaving your car on the side of the road for parking, then you're looking at possible towing and fines.
Yeah, and you don't want that.
No, I don't know that anybody would think that that's a viable risk. It's just when you have alternate parking available, your driveway, your lawn. I hate to say park on your lawn, but sometimes that's the alternate parking spot. Or for apartment buildings, you have parking.
Yep.
Excuse me, parking lots. So.
You also don't want to have your car get hit by a big wing plow either.
Oh no,
No,
That
no.
would leave a mark.
Yeah, town wouldn't be happy with that either. But
No.
no, you really want to get it off the street. In November, for who knows? Anything can happen snow-wise after that
we
point.
have had some wicked storms, just crazy dates, and I remember one year it was we had a bad snowstorm on Halloween. The day before November 1st.
That's right. I can remember that. Well, let's hope Halloween is. We got a big rain, hopefully just rainstorm coming up tomorrow night, which would be
Yeah.
Thursday night, and
Yeah.
into Friday. So hopefully most of that's out of the way for the trick or treaters on
I hope so.
Halloween. Although it isn't quite back, it was back in my day, in your day,
Yeah.
where you'd have tons of kids out on the street and going to any neighborhood and not
Not just
without
their
any fear of anything.
Yep.
Now it's a lot more organized parties and
Mm-hmm.
and
Trunk or
activity,
treats.
trunk or treats going on, things like that. So it's changed a lot from the day. I used to go anywhere and everywhere, fill up one bag, go home,
Home.
drop it off, and go somewhere else to get another bag. And we never once feared of repercussions for
No.
that. And parents weren't as concerned about their kids on sugar highs back then either. So
No, and I think one of the things from our youth days is, the first episode of danger was the razor blade in the apple.
that was yeah.
That
That seemed to be the first issue that I can recall. But if you have local trunk or treats or local community parties or whatever,
Right.
that might be the safer way. Or go to areas that you know the people,
Exactly.
which would make some sense. And this is the dog relicensing
Season. It is.
season, and there's a lot of dog owners out there, so this is kind of a big thing, and you better license your dog. And what you have to show proof that they've been neutered or.
Do you mind if I look at my notes?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the town clerk gave me the what for.
Okay.
So dog licensing is October 15th to December 31st.
Yeah.
And it's $6 for spayed or neutered,
Okay.
$11 if it's not spayed or neutered.
Yeah.
And then you have an extra month just in case you weren't able to do it by December 31st. So January 1 through 31, again, you can license your dog for the same cost. But starting February 1st through October 14th, there's a $25 late fee. So if you don't get your dog registered in that time frame, or you don't get your kennel inspected, then there is going to be a problem. So.
And as I said, there's a lot of dog owners out there, so
There
they should
are.
be paying attention. And is there generally pretty good compliance
There
with
is.
this?
I think there is. And there's a new program, a software program that the state has created, Pet Point, I think it's called.
Okay.
And it's available to consumers online, so they can register their dogs online.
Yeah.
So that's an easy thing. Maine.gov, go find your, through agriculture, and I'm not sure which department it is, but if you go on to Maine.gov and you search for Pet Point, that'll take you there.
Yep. Okay. So that's coming up. So people
It
need to
is.
think about that.
That's already started.
Yep. One thing you mentioned to me, before going on the air, you kind of gave me a list of things that you might want to discuss. And one was, I guess it's more than the semantics change, is whether Madison, you want Madison to be known as either a mill town or a manufacturing town.
Yeah.
So explain to me what that would do, or what the difference is there.
Well, it is. It's basically semantics, but, we used to be a mill town with
Yeah.
Madison Paper Mill. And the mill town had a persona all of its own. And I think now we're looking at Madison as more of a manufacturing town. Backyard farms, manufacturing tomatoes, growing tomatoes.
That's right.
You've got Timber HP manufacturing insulation. There's Madison Electric with the solar panels.
Solar panels, yeah.
Manufacturing electricity.
Yeah.
So it may be only semantics, and it may not be anything that catches anybody's attention, but it's certainly something to note that we have to make sure that we maintain an identity of who Madison is, and if that means rebranding from a mill town to a manufacturing town, is what does that entail?
Yeah. So that's something that's being
Well,
discussed with the Board of Selectmen and
yes,
trying to.
just kind of what What do we need to do? Do we need to create some kind of an advertising campaign on it?
Yeah.
Or do we just, mention it like we're talking about it here today, and let people think about it and, ruminate.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it might make for a good marketing campaign.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll see. But
We will.
you're still formulating that idea.
It is.
Yeah.
We are. We're
Yeah.
working on that.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of backyard farms, I hadn't brought that up, but that's obviously a major employer
They
here
are.
in the area, and I haven't really heard or read much about backyard farms, so I assume everything is just going okay.
Yes. So Backyard Farms, I think, still employs between 175 to 200 people.
Okay.
They had, at one point in time, they talked about building another greenhouse for like peppers or cucumbers and things like that, but that didn't come to fruition at this,
Yeah.
They have a new manager, Jim, and I can't think of his last name right now, but they're working to continue the TIF agreement that they have with the town. They want to continue to be an active employer and an active business here in Madison, which is great news.
Yep. Any new businesses come to town recently? I know we hadn't discussed this in advance, but
Well, I'm trying to think. There's a new daycare that's going to be coming to town. I don't know when they're going to be opening, but it's going to be over in the Lakewood Medical, where Inland Hospital had some of their
okay.
Dr. Parody's office. Was
Oh,
over
yes,
there.
yes, yes,
Yep.
yeah.
So there's going to be a daycare center back there.
Anything coming into Taylor Drug Store?
Yeah, Taylor Drugstore. There's supposed to be a restaurant. So
That's kind of what I had heard.
yes, and that'll be really nice to have it's going to be, I don't know if they've settled on the name, but it's going to be an Italian restaurant, Italian-American cuisine.
And God
And-
knows we could use one.
I know.
Yeah.
Right there in the center of town, and that would be great.
Yeah, I know it had been purchased, but I haven't seen any activity there, but,
They've been working on the inside
yeah, okay.
because they have to convert it. They didn't have a kitchen.
Yeah.
They didn't have, the facilities to
That's right. Yeah,
operate as
yeah,
a restaurant.
That's right.
So there's been a lot of work that's been going on the inside.
Well, the town could use a good sit-down restaurant too. I mean, you
Yes.
have some good little restaurants and pizza places and
Mm-hmm.
Subway and those things, but it could use a good type of family
yes,
restaurant there. So,
Yeah.
and that's a nice spot, right, kind of in the center of everything.
Right.
So that would be excellent.
when it opens, I think it'll do very well.
I think so, because as I said, there's a lack of
There is.
Italian. I know down in Skowhegan Heritage House is doing some Italian
Mm-hmm.
now, which is a nice thing.
Yeah.
But here in Madison, that would be, and who doesn't like Italian food?
Well, I can tell you that I do.
Yeah, I probably like it too much, actually. So, okay, well, here's a big one, and hopefully we'll leave it to John. Hopefully this will be on the air before this, but we got bond issues, not bond issues,
Referendum.
but referendum issues. Yeah, there's a little money involved, but it's referendum issues.
Yep.
Coming up, and there's two big ones. And
You see signs all over the sides of the roads for question 1 and question 2, and whether it's yes or vote no,
and boy, what reading I have done on both of them is they're close in the voting. Of course, we'll see what actually happens on election day, and of course, there's been a lot of voting in advance of
There
that
has.
now. One statistic I came across is there's like in recent years it's been like 45% of people vote absentee, and obviously that's an outgrowth of COVID, I think,
I think so.
too. But a lot have continued that
Mm-hmm.
that way. So that's kind of lead into the voter ID
So question one.
question one. And you have said, and I agree, and I'll be the same way, that we're going to stay neutral on this issue in your capacity as town manager and also with your town clerk. You can't advise people to
Right.
support. So we'll try not to let our personal views come out on these issues. But voter ID, I mean, what are the basics of that
So,
referendum?
yeah, as you mentioned, both Cheyenne as town clerk and myself as town manager, we are ethically bound to remain neutral and not advocate for one position over another. Um, so question one is asking the voters to um, elect or not elect, one or the other, to require photographic ID, whether it's a driver's license, a passport, a non-driver's ID, something, photographic government-issued identification. So when you go to vote. Now that's not going to take place for this election. This election, there is no
No.
requirement other than what's always been in place.
What's always been in place.
So you go up to the voter people and you say, this is my name, this is my address, and they give you the ballot.
And apparently, you can, in lieu of a driver's license, you can use, I think I read you can use a passport
Yeah.
if you have it, or if you have a military
Correct.
ID. But the thing is, if you don't have an ID, they will issue you an ID, right? I think
Yeah.
it's free of charge.
Right. So the Secretary of State's office currently offers non-driver IDs, photo IDs for
Yeah.
non-drivers at I think it's a minimal fee of like $5.
Yeah.
And so this bill, if enacted, this referendum would require the Secretary of State's office to offer that for free instead of the $5
Mm-hmm.
for voter registration purposes.
I read somewhere that they're using the money they've accumulated from the $5 fees that they've collected to help support that, I guess.
And the highway fund.
Yeah, and out of the highway fund.
Right.
Yeah, in order
Yeah.
to do that. And so that's part of it. That's part of it. And apparently, you correct me if you know better than this, but there's like 36 other states that have some voter ID requirement,
Yeah.
and that's one thing. But it's the absentee voting that changes quite a bit.
No, I really don't. I don't think the absentee voting will change that significantly. From what I've read,
Okay.
the application process is, I think, limits who is allowed to apply for it.
That's right.
For on behalf of another person.
Yeah.
But the absentee ballot voting itself process should remain relatively intact.
Okay. Okay. So this will be a change.
It will.
But on the surface, I mean, with the voter ID thing, if you don't have one, they're gonna give you one.
Right.
So that part's
It's right.
it doesn't seem all that bad.
It does not create a roadblock to voting.
Okay. So what if you go into the go to vote, and you don't have an ID. Of course, they're going to give you an ID, but it takes time to give you an
Right.
ID. What does that do? Do you know?
Well, from what I understand from reading the referendum, is if you don't have the ID to present to the person who's handing out the ballots, you're still going to be allowed to vote,
Yep.
but they're going to hold your ballot off
Okay.
to the side, and you'll have, I think, 4 days, up to 4 days,
Right.
to provide that proof of identification and residency.
Yeah, and that makes sense. So
So your ballot will still count, but it will just be delayed.
okay. What would that? Just a question though, but what would that, in terms of election results, where everybody wants to know instantly, or that night, what the elections are? Let's just say you have a number of people who, and I don't know what percentage couldn't show an ID.
Right.
But there's some people who don't drive and weren't in the military and don't have a passport and so forth. And particularly in the first year of this getting going, might there be a delay on some election results because of that?
Could be.
Initially?
Yeah, it could be up to 4 days.
Yeah.
But as it stands now, it takes the Secretary of State's office sometimes a week to 2 weeks or more
To
validate
yeah.
and certify the election results. So it's not a significant change in that regard.
Okay.
I think and I think the percentage is going to be minor.
Yeah.
Until we have experience with it, it's going to be difficult to say, how many people are not going to be able to provide a voter identification card. So it's, I don't think it's going to be a significant delay
Yeah.
for a significant portion of the votes.
Yep. Yep. It's kind of interesting because you like to think things aren't all that political, but
Right.
if you look at the sponsors behind each side, you pretty much know which party
Yeah, you
is supporting which position
do. You do.
on
Yeah.
this. And anything that I have read has indicated this is touch and go. It's gonna be
It's very close.
It's gonna be very close,
Yep.
and I think it's going to be kind of exciting to see what the results are
I think so too.
on election day. Now the other one is the red flag, yellow
Yes.
flag
Yep.
thing, and that's another one that is looking relatively close.
It
I
is.
think within a
Very
few percent,
controversial too.
and very controversial. And the yellow flag. David Trahan was really behind that, and he was looking for some sort of compromise position there, realizing that we had to do something, but not wanting to take away people's guns that easily. And I think that, and Janet Mills ultimately agreed with that, and so we had the yellow flag law. And then Lewiston happened.
And then Lewiston, yeah.
And so I don't know what your opinion is of that, but it kind of, Lewiston, it depends on what you're blaming there in terms of that not working, whether it was the process, people breakdowns in the system, lack of communication between departments. Did the Army cause the problem? Did the Saginaw County Sheriff's Department not do everything they were supposed to do? And a lot of things. So I think there are people that contend that the law itself is fine, but the process was not observed, and the communication was not good. And then since then, I've read they've had like 1,000 different times that this yellow flag thing has been invoked in the last few years. So a lot of time, there are people that contend that it just wasn't being utilized,
Right.
that it was there and it could work, but it wasn't being utilized. Where the red flag people say, you know, it's not. It just doesn't do the job. So
Right.
we need stricter things, so anyways, I'm giving you all my information. I need to hear from you.
I have to remain neutral.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right.
So the information that I have is that there would be stronger rules about reporting and what was the word?
With the red flag.
Yes,
Uh,
that they would actually have a better. There's a limit as to who could report somebody, what the circumstances would be, when that person that was being reported would have a chance to rebut the,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, um, and it just seems like it creates a stronger enforcement action against people, but does it necessarily improve what we already have, and still allow for personal freedom?
Yeah,
So
and that's
I,
the thing. And the gun right, the strong gun people are well, some of them had enough trouble with the yellow flag law,
yeah,
much less a red flag law.
right,
So there's a lot of opposition there, um, and I just it's interesting. It depends on who you listen to as
yeah.
to the impact of this. Um,
I definitely would encourage people to do their research,
yeah.
before just saying um, yes or no. Be aware, be mindful of what is trying to be accomplished, what is already in place, what there. There's a lot of unintended consequences that happens whenever we enact bills, and you don't always know how something is going to impact the general public.
And there are red flag laws I've read in like 20 other states, but they're not all the same. There's a lot of
Right.
variations between those red flag laws. So our red flag law may be a bit different than
Mm-hmm.
what their red flag law is. I guess from what I can tell, it with the red flag, it allows family members and other people living in the house to immediately report
Yeah.
something,
Mm-hmm.
so they would be involved, and it wouldn't just be a police
Correct.
intervention there. And then,
It could be military, it could be
yeah,
police, it could be doctor, it could be family member, it could be another resident in the home.
that's right. And it gets the guns out of the person's hand um, if they think he's going to do something
Potentially
bad
violent.
and potentially violent out of the hands. And if I understood correctly, they don't get into a case where the police have to bring them in first, and then they have to have this mental health evaluation done because not all violence is necessarily tied to a mental health
Illness.
illness situation.
Right.
So it's, uh, I don't know. As I said, we stay neutral on this issue, and both sides make some valid points
Yep.
here as to what's right in this situation. So a lot of it comes down to: do you believe that the yellow flag law was effective but just not used or enforced?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you think that it just is ineffective? So,
Mm-hmm.
and that really is what it
And
comes
that's,
down to.
yeah, and it's a personal, conscientious decision.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. And some family members might say, "Geez, I don't think I want to get with a red flag. I don't think I want to get involved with this. Let the
Mm-hmm.
police deal with this issue."
Yep.
So, as I said, there's a lot of different ways that you can approach this thing, and but you will you know, this is like the voter ID law. I think you can almost see the political parties and how they
Yes.
line up on this one as well.
Yeah.
Because they're both telling you to vote opposite positions from the other. So some of this may come down to what political party you're in and what your beliefs are.
That's true. That's
But
true.
if you're a pro-gun person, don't want much risk of your guns being taken away, you probably will be happy with the content with the yellow flag law. But if you're somebody that is in great harm and great fears
Risk.
that there's a lot of risk here
Yeah.
and that you want to be as safe as you possibly can be, you may come down on the side of the red flag law. So it's we shall see, but
Yeah.
both of them are coming down to there's no clear majority, I think, on either side on
You're right.
both of those referendum issues. So I think it's
I think it's going to be the closest two referendums we've had in a very long time.
I think so too, and they're valid. As I said, they're very valid points on
Yep.
both sides of us. You know, I hate to be call myself Mr. Switzerland on these things, but I think
No.
we have to be on a show like this and let you make up your own mind.
Yes.
With the information.
With the information, be an informed voter. Be an informed voter.
Absolutely. Okay. What else? We've got a few minutes
How
left.
about let's talk about ATVs.
That's right. You did bring that up. Yeah. Go right ahead. There's
All
been some issues with those, right?
Well,
In Madison.
a year or so ago at town meeting, the voters allowed ATVs to have access on 148 up through from the rail trail down by the river up through Bob's Cash Fuel,
Yep.
so that they could get the people that are coming through town could get gas, could get groceries, could go to the bank, whatever. And since that passed, the local access routes have been really inundated with ATVs and motorbikes, and there's just been a lot of abuse going on. And ATVs still need to follow the rules. The select board, when they made the motion, when they presented the opportunity to vote on it, said point blank, we're going to reserve the right that in the event that this is not working, that we can withdraw this approval. And it's been brought to the select board a number of times that there are just too many local residents using surface roads with their ATVs, with their motorbikes, not obeying the speed limit signs, not obeying the traffic laws, and using it more as a matter of convenience than as a matter of recreational driving
Right.
on the ATV trails. And so we are forming a committee to kind of evaluate this and look at it. We're going to include somebody from law enforcement, somebody from the warden service. So local law enforcement has rights to enforce on paved roads. The warden service has rights to enforce on gravel roads.
Okay.
So that's a distinction I didn't know. There's also rules that you must be 16 years old or older to drive an ATV.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a valid driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the concerns that have been brought forth are people that have been stopped and lost their license for OUI or whatever have gone from driving a traditional vehicle to driving all-terrain vehicle instead. And but they're still subject to the same laws.
Okay.
So we're going to have law enforcement, we're going to have game warden, we're going to have somebody from the State Bureau of Parks and Land, we're going to have Jeff Ireland from the Madison Anson ATV Club, and we've had a few residents come forward that say they want to participate in this review committee. So I think it's an important aspect of local community oversight that we know what is available, and we also know what's happening that's jeopardizing what's available. So, you know, what the saying, one bad apple, right?
There's always a few, and you know, that's not unique to Madison either.
it's
They
not.
were having some issues over in the Norridgewock, Skowhegan areas. They opened up some roads, Burl Hill and Bigelow Hill, which I live on, for ATV access, and I think they were having some issues because people would go off trail. And I don't know if there's issues with either the curfew or the speed limit, but I think the speed limit is like 25 miles an hour.
It's supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
Yeah.
And my personal observations, I've seen a few go a bit over that.
Yeah.
So that's
Not having radar guns,
Yeah.
we have to estimate that.
And then supposedly local business, the restaurants, things like that. Well, now we got access to go there, but I suppose they get in a car and go there, really. So I don't know if that is really a strong economic argument for those types of things. But the ATV clubs have a lot of members, and they have a lot of, I don't know about lobbying ability, but they have, it's a pretty strong coalition, I
Yeah, it
think.
is.
But there's got to be rules, and it can't be the Wild West out there of
And that's what it is
doing
right
that.
now.
Yeah, so that has to be, and I think I read somewhere that the Nathan Street boat landing was having some
There was,
issues
yeah,
down there too.
Nathan Street boat landing, the pits out behind Forest Hill Cemetery,
Yeah,
the gravel pits back there. Yeah, it's just, you know, you've got a 1,500-foot right-of-way, basically, if you're coming off from one of the side streets onto Old Point Avenue, for instance.
Yeah.
You have, you're allowed to travel 1,500 feet, but then you have to get off from Old Point Avenue onto a road that accesses the trail. So it was to benefit the people that were coming through town,
yeah,
not necessarily the people that live in town.
yeah.
But you can't exclude the people that live in town, you know.
That's right.
So
It's I think in the same way over where I live, I I think there's going to have to be some more give and take in figuring out as to how this is going to go. And as you said, I mean, the one bad apple or the few, there's always going to be a few that mess it up for the other ones. So I think you just have to get the rules and the enforcement as tight as possible in order to make that work. So,
and that's part of educating the public as to what is allowed, what is acceptable, and what is not.
That's right. That's right.
So community education is going to be a big part of it.
I would say. So, Denise, we have covered a lot of topics here this morning. I mean, if we had another hour, we'd cover some more. But I think we've covered quite a few, and we got to leave some on the table for the next time you come on the show.
Well, I look forward to that.
Yeah. So this has been wonderful. I thank you very much, Denise Ducharme, who is manager of the town of Madison. You've been doing that for what, 2 years now, or close to it? Yep.
A little over 2 years.
Yep. Yep. So thank you very much for being on our show this morning, and now you know.